All right. Good afternoon, Linda. How are you today?
Thank you. Good.
Great. So it's been a pleasure to talk with you. So far, you've got some really great experience and some great skills. So I'm going to let you take the floor. And why don't we go ahead and start with you? You relocated, you said about 8 years ago to Volusia County
Yes.
from New Jersey. So why don't we go ahead and start with New Jersey? Tell me what you were doing there, and then we'll go up to current.
Sure. So in New Jersey, I was working at a position where we worked with all different kinds of documents. So our main focus was turning paper documents into digital images. So that we worked with a range of professions, whether it be hospitals, doctors, lawyers, contractors, basically any legal paperwork that they couldn't really discard, that they had like a timeline that they had to keep those documents. So we would pick them up from the offices and then take them back to our warehouse, sort them, digitally transfer them online so they would be able to search them. The office would be able to search them. So I was there from quite a while. I started off with a temp agency and then got hired full time. It was called Cornerstone Records. It was in Bergen County, South Hackensack. Love that area. Right next to Giant Stadium, just to give you perspective of where in New Jersey it was. Um, but yeah, that was the main part of my role, was just making sure that these documents that had very important information like addresses, date of birth, social security numbers were kept in control with their paperwork, with their file, and put on digital record.
All right, great. And is that where you went to school for? Okay, so why don't you tell me a little bit about what your degree is in?
Yes. So I did go to school in the same area. Um, I wanted, so I can't even say what made me start, but we had a school called Ho-Hokus Hackensack School of Business and Medical Science. It's actually a sister school to Oh, a larger university that I can't think off the top of my head right now. Um, but I went for medical assistant, which I graduated with associates in medical science slash patient care tech, which we did dive into medical billing and coding, and a little bit of pharmaceutical work as well. And yeah, I went, I loved it, graduated, and around that time is when we were kind of contemplating staying in New Jersey or moving to Florida.
All right, wonderful. And then you did move to Florida, and so then you worked at an urgent care here in Daytona. And what were you doing at the urgent care?
So at the urgent care, I started off in the front desk area. So patients would come in, I would greet them, get their information, see what they're there for. Scheduling, I would answer phones, I would do scheduling, rescheduling, pre-authorizations for insurance. Um, Making sure that the referrals went to the correct place that they had to go to, receiving results from different labs if they had out of office labs done. We had several contracts with a couple of local businesses that workers would come in for drug testing. So we had to make sure all that paperwork was filled out correctly and done in the matter, that they had to go through steps. And we also worked with CDL drivers. So we
Mhm.
had to make sure all their paperwork was done with their physicals. That takes, taking in paperwork, making sure that all the stamps and dates are on correctly so we can send it back to the job so then they could forward it to motor vehicles. Um, Patients would call to get different codes, to make sure that their insurance was going to cover it, or they would call us to see why it wasn't going to be covered at a certain percentage. So pretty much that in a bundle.
Okay. And then to wrap it up, you your next role, you worked at a nonprofit close to my heart. You were with the Girl Scouts,
Yes.
and you were doing you were doing recruiting for
Yes.
them. So who were you recruiting for the Girl Scouts?
So when I first started, I was only in charge of Port Orange, where I
Mhm.
lived. I actually very much enjoyed the recruitment role because I got to share my memories and my experiences being a girl in the Girl Scout community, but then I rolled over into being a troop leader as a parent. So I got to explain, or not explain, show or share my experiences being in Girl Scouts. I
Mhm.
was able to then go into a recruiting position. Um, and then I not moved, I went up from just being in charge of Port Orange to all of Volusia County. So I was
Okay.
in charge of all of the territory that involved Volusia County. So we were recruiting for new girls, new families to join Girl Scouts. My main role was to get more parents to take on the new troop leader position.
Mhm.
So not only were we recruiting to get more girls into Girl Scouts, but because the girls are not really the problem. A lot of girls want to join Girl Scouts. The problem is that with more girls, we need more adults. And that could be that would be the harder part, is to convince adults um, to join our program, be a troop leader, lead a troop, you know, get camping certified, get CPR certified. So I would basically talk with individual families, tell them about our program, show them how to register online, make sure they do their training, because we have a training that they have to do before they can ultimately step into that troop leader position. Make sure they're connected with the correct people in the community so they can get their troop up and on the ground running.
Okay, so like a lot of it's very similar to, like, for somebody, an outsider looking in, like a membership drive. Like, you're
Yeah.
trying to drive up membership and increase the volunteers
Yeah.
to lead those efforts. Okay, wonderful. And then, of course, due to some budgetary restrictions and some changes, that position you explained to me has ended. So now here you are seeking a new opportunity here in Volusia County.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this part of the interview, but don't go anywhere. We got a few more things to talk about.
No
Thank
problem.
you.